evening. It's 6 o'clock. It's Saturday, the 7th of December, and welcome to our Saturday evening news programme, live from the heart of White Regis. And firstly, can I apologise that our programme didn't run last week due to technical issues, both with our IT equipment here in the studio and our internet connection as well. Both were giving us problems this time last week. But we are with you this week, and so far so good. Everything is running good. And in the news this week, a procedure room at Dorset County Hospital has been transformed into a full operating theatre for special care dentistry and other surgeries. The £2 million project was jointly funded between Dorset County Hospital and NHS Dorset, which commissioned the special care dentistry services provided by Somerset NHS Foundation Trust at the main hospital site. The space within the main theatres was originally used for smaller procedures that were carried out under local anaesthetic. Upgrading the room to become an operating theatre allows Dorset County Hospital specialities to perform ear, nose and throat, gynecological and orthopaedic procedures, as well as general surgeries. It also gives special care dentistry additional theatre capacity for operations, which will help reduce waiting times for patients. The service provides dentistry care for adults and children with additional needs, including people with learning disabilities and mental health, medical or physical health issues. Anita Thomas, who's the Chief Operating Officer at Dorset County Hospital, said, "We're committed to reducing our waiting times for surgery and treating patients as quickly as we can. We're delighted to have worked with NHS Dorset and Somerset NHS Foundation Trust to create additional operating theatre space in the main hospital. It will give our specialty teams more general anaesthetic theatre time and special care dentistry more space for procedures, which will ultimately help improve people's quality of life." Now, Dorset Wildlife Trust is looking for volunteers to join their visitor centre teams at the Wild Chesil Centre on the Portland Beach Road and the Fine Foundation Wild Seas Centre at Kimmeridge. Open sessions will be held at both visitor centres in January, when staff and other volunteers will be available to talk about what is involved in the roles. Community Ranger Abby Mustard said, "From rare scaly crickets to thousands of overwintering Brent geese, Chesil Beach and Fleet Lagoon form an internationally important nature reserve, and Kimmeridge Bay lies within the stunning Purbeck Coast Marine Conservation Zone. With the current climate and ecological crisis and increasing pressures from human activities, wildlife on land and in the sea is under threat, so our conservation work has never been more important, and we need more help. We're looking for keen, friendly and approachable volunteers to join our teams, both inside and outside our visitor centres. By volunteering for Dorset Wildlife Trust, you will meet like-minded people, receive regular training, learn new skills and have the opportunity to attend the social events arranged for the volunteer teams. Volunteers need to be aged 18 or over and want to make a difference for the benefit of the planet and our wildlife. For roles at Wild Seas Centre at Kimmeridge, there's an email address, and you can email Julie Hatcher, and her email address is kimmeridge@dorsetwildlifetrust.org.uk. Or for the Wild Chesil Centre at Portland Beach Road, it's Sarah Hodgson or Abby Mustard, and their email address is chesilbeach@dorsetwildlifetrust.org.uk. And if we get some more information about those open days in January, we will of course share those with you in the next couple of weeks. South Western Railways is inviting applications for the latest round of its successful Customer and Communities Improvement Fund. The fund programme supports projects that have a community benefit or address an area of social need across its network, which serves Berkshire, Devon, Dorset, Greater London, Hampshire, the Isle of Wight, Somerset, Surrey and Wiltshire. Applications will be judged on some criteria, which will include addressing community or social need, demonstration of benefits, deliverability against cost and timescales, alignment with Southwestern Railway's charitable giving policy, and links to the railway. Match funding is not necessary, but if you have got additional funding available, that will obviously be considered in the scoring and judging of applications. Applications need to be submitted by Sunday the 31st of December, and more information on the 2025-26 window can be found on the South Western Railway's website. This year, funding of £400,000 was awarded to 15 projects across the SWR network. So if you search for SWR and the community fund, you'll get all the information that you need and applications in by the 31st of December. Now, Councillor Nick Ireland, who's the leader of Dorset Council and Cabinet Member for Climate Performance and Safeguarding, has written to the Secretary of State for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs. He has requested the Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs to intervene following the government's decision to grant planning permission for the proposed incinerator on Portland. The letter addressed to the Right Honourable Steve Reid MP, Secretary of State for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, and Emma Hardy MP, Under Secretary of State for the Minister for Water and Flooding, reads as follows. Now, there's a full copy of the letter on the Dorset Council website, so I'm not going to read it in full, but the letter does say that Dorset Council feels deep disappointment at the decision by government to grant planning permission for the proposed incinerator at Portland. The strength of local opposition is striking, and there is a strong feeling that the government has pushed this through without consideration of the consequences for the residents of Dorset. We welcome the Environment Agency's decision to reopen the consultation on the proposed incinerator's application for a permit to operate. We hope that it will now carefully consider our residents' concerns about the impacts on the local community. So if you wish to read the full letter from Councillor Ireland, do pop along to the Dorset Council website. If you type in Dorset Council waste incinerator, I'm sure you will get to that full letter. Now, a van driver who failed to check his rear view camera before carrying out a manoeuvre causing a fatal collision in White Regis has been sent to prison. Edgaras Kondratus, aged 41 and of Southampton, appeared at Winchester Crown Court to be sentenced on Friday after being found guilty at an earlier trial of causing death by driving without due care and consideration while over the specified limit for a controlled drug. He was sentenced to 3 years in prison and disqualified from driving for 3 years following his release from prison. At around 12:50 p.m. on Tuesday, the 2nd of May 2023, 94-year-old Belinda Bentley, who you can see on screen, was crossing the road in Woolland Gardens in White Regis when a Mercedes Sprinter van, which was reversing, collided with her. Belinda died at the scene as a result of her injuries. Following the sentencing hearing, the family of Belinda said in a statement, "My mother, Belinda Bentley, was killed on a bright summer's day while walking close to the home she had lived in for almost 30 years. The place she died is a popular walking route for children, families, dog walkers, a place that she and White Regis people of all ages consider quiet and safe. I hope anyone reading this story is reminded that when they are driving to always take care, be constantly observant and to allow for the unexpected, however quiet and peaceful the road. My mum is missed every day by her family and her many friends and her neighbours in Woolland Gardens." And of course we think of Belinda's family at this time, having gone through all the problems and pressures of everything being relived through the court process. Plans to overhaul the rail network have been announced as the Transport Secretary revealed that South Western Railway Services will be the first to transfer back into public ownership next year. The move comes just days after one of the government's first major pieces of legislation, the Passenger Railway Services Public Ownership Act 2024, received royal assent, paving the way for a major shake-up of Britain's railways. The government says that the transition to a publicly owned railway will improve reliability and boost growth by encouraging more people to use the railway. Transport Secretary Heidi Alexander said that the complex system of private rail operators has too often failed its users, and returning the services to public control will create a reliable rail network that puts customers first. 2 other rail companies also will be renationalised in 2025, and that's C2C and Anglia. So we will learn more about that, what that means for the public and for the railways and their staff in the months ahead. The Chief Executive of Dorset Council, Matt Prosser, has announced that he will be leaving the council in the spring of 2025 for a new role as Chief Executive of Wellington City Council in New Zealand. Matt has led Dorset Council for 6 years since he was appointed to the role in October 2018, ahead of the council's formation in 2019. Matt previously led Dorset Council's partnership, comprising of North Dorset District Council, West Dorset District Council and Weymouth and Portland Borough Council. Matt Prosser said, "I have served this fantastic place for over 11 years and it has been a challenging but highly rewarding experience. The most satisfying aspect of my role and the way we have achieved what we have is through collaboration with councillors, colleagues, partners and residents. I want to thank everyone for their contribution. It has been great to work with you all and I'm sure our strong culture of partnership will continue. My wife and I have always wanted to have the opportunity to live and work abroad and I'm hugely looking forward to my new role at Wellington City Council. There will be much to learn and I hope much I can bring." Now, a recruitment process will begin shortly to find Matt's successor at Dorset Council. It's nearly 3 years since Russia's illegal invasion of Ukraine, and thousands of Ukrainians have had to flee the war-torn country. Hundreds of refugees have found a safe haven here in Dorset, regaining their independence with the help of kind hosts and sponsors. More than 500 households in Dorset have opened their homes as part of the Homes for Ukraine scheme, but more homes are still needed for those escaping the war zone. Dorset Council is once again asking anyone who has a spare room or two or an annex to host a Ukrainian refugee or a family and help them rebuild their lives. You will be linked into a network of support and Dorset Council will pay £350 a month to provide a room in your house. Dorset Council are also looking for landlords who can rent a home to refugees. Many are now ready to live independently. Ukrainians on the Homes for Ukraine, Ukrainian Extension and family schemes have the right to rent, work, claim benefits and access public funds. Now, if you've either got a room to rent or a house to rent and you'd like to talk to Dorset Council about their response to the Ukrainian problem and if you can help with housing, you can give them a call on 01305 221 000 or you can email Ukraine Response. Ukraine Response. I just check it wasn't Ukrainian Response. Ukraine Response at dorsetcouncil.gov.uk. Ukraine Response at dorsetcouncil.gov.uk. Now, Dorchester Town Council has announced the reopening of 2 tennis courts in the Borough Gardens following a successful resurfacing project. The important upgrade, made possible by a generous grant from the Lawn Tennis Association, ensures the courts are now in top condition for local tennis enthusiasts to enjoy for many years to come. The resurfacing of those 2 courts brings the total number of courts in the Borough Gardens to 4, which follows the addition of 2 new courts in 2018. And being set in the award-winning gardens makes them a first-class destination for tennis in the area. The newly resurfaced courts are now available for use, offering a fantastic facility for residents and visitors alike. If you want to find out more about the courts and how to hire them, just search for Dorchester Town Council Sports Facilities. Dorchester Town Council Sports Facilities. A special event will be transporting people back in time to explore how the Tudors marked Christmas, and that's at a special event in Weymouth. Tudor House in Trinity Street near the harbour is part of the former Merchants' House that is now in the care of Weymouth Civic Society. It will be open tomorrow, December the 8th, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. for a Tudor Christmas event with music and activities to try. You can step back in time to 1600 and see how the Tudors prepare for Christmas as part of this living history experience. Immerse yourself in the sights, sounds and smells of the Tudor house in Weymouth at the turn of the 16th century. Have a go at making a pomander or investigate and try on the different layers of clothing worn at the time or try a musical instrument of the period. The house is owned and run by the local charity Weymouth Civic Society. Entry is free. but the Society welcomes donations to enable it to look after this unique piece of Weymouth's history. Chris Wilson of the Weymouth Civic Society said, "We're looking for additional volunteers to help us open the house on extra days in 2025 so that more people can enjoy a visit here." So if you're interested in working with the Weymouth Civic Society to help them open the Tudor House in Weymouth more often, then you can drop them an email at weymouth.tudorh, as in short for Tudor House, weymouth.tudorh@gmail.com. And I'm sure if you want to pop along there tomorrow, after 11 o'clock when it's open, you can also speak to people there and speak about volunteering as well. They'll be very happy to speak to you. Now, Dorset Police are asking for our help this week. Dorset Police received a report at 2:54 a.m. on Sunday the 1st of December of an altercation taking place outside the Closet in Maiden Street, Weymouth. It was reported that a 19-year-old man was assaulted and was taken to hospital for treatment to a serious head injury. Following inquiries at the scene, 3 people, all aged 19 and from Weymouth, were arrested on suspicion of inflicting grievous bodily harm and affray. They have been released on police bail as further inquiries continue. Police Constable Harry Chaplin of Weymouth Police said, "We are carrying out a full investigation into this incident, and I would urge any witnesses who have not already spoken to the police to please come forward." As ever, you can contact Dorset Police with information on this or any other incident by calling 101, or if you wish to give information anonymously, you can do this via the Crime Stoppers charity on 0800 555 111. That's Crime Stoppers on 0800 555 111. Now, Weymouth is to celebrate the Salvation Army's vital contribution to the community by lighting up its iconic Jubilee clock in the charity's vibrant colours, yellow, red and blue, from today until Monday. Additionally, the Salvation Army Band will perform at the Carols on the Coast concert this afternoon that started at 5 o'clock out on the prom, close to the Jubilee clock. Well, it's a bit late to go along now, but if you've gone along, hopefully, and you're watching this later, you've had a good time, although the weather's not too brilliant. Now, earlier in the year, Weymouth Town Council opened nominations for local charities to be honoured by the Jubilee clock lighting up, and they received over 100 submissions from the community for suggestions to light up the clock. And today is obviously one of the last ones of 2024, lit up to celebrate the work of the Salvation Army locally in yellow, red and blue, and that'll be all weekend through to Monday. Now, due to the recent bad weather, Weldmar Hospice Care's Light Up a Life tree at Lodmore Country Park has sadly sustained some significant damage. With very strong winds also forecast over the weekend due to Storm Dara, it is not safe to continue with the outdoor services planned this weekend. Weldmar acknowledge an important part of the Light Up a Life is coming together to remember loved ones, and therefore an indoor service will be held, and that will be at the Willowbed Hall in Chickerell tomorrow, that's Sunday, at a revised time of 5:30. So if you were going to go to the Light Up a Life event for Weldmar, it is now at the Willowbed Hall in Chickerell tomorrow at a revised time of 5:30. Now, they are asking that if you're going there, if you can possibly share transport, that will make life easier because the car park obviously can only hold so many cars there. So that's Willowbed Hall tomorrow, 5:30. And finally, in our news headlines tonight, there's been a flood alert from the Environment Agency for Lyme Regis, Charmouth, Seaton, West Bay, Bothamhampton, Burton, Freshwater, Burton Bradstock, Cogden Beach, Chesil Beach, Westfleet, Eastfleet and Chisel this weekend. Storm Dara is bringing strong winds, large waves and spray overtopping the coast on Saturday through to Sunday, which may lead to flooding it will lead to flooding, although they hope that flooding of property is not expected. Flooding is possible around the high tide. Areas most at risk are coastal roads and footpaths. Waves are forecast to overtop the coastal defences at Chisel on Portland. As the weekend goes on and we start to get into the new week, the weather will become more settled and hopefully no further flooding expected. The advice is to stay away from beaches, promenades, coastal footpaths and roads as large waves and sea spray could be dangerous. And lots of events that were going on today. and lots of venues that were open today have actually shut because of the weather. So some people have had things disrupted that they planned to do today. And obviously it has been a little bit rough out there today if you have been out. Now that's the end of our headlines tonight. It's now time in our programme this week to go over to Andrew Wright for this week's film review and preview.
Welcome to White Regis TV film review and preview. I'm Andrew Wright. This week, Beetlejuice was released on home video. The film is a sequel to the 1988 Beetlejuice film. That's right, he's not going to appear. And stars Michael Keaton, Winona Ryder and Catherine O'Hara, reprising their roles from the first film, with Justin Theroux, Jenna Ortega and Willem Dafoe joining the cast. The film is set more than 3 decades after the original film and revolves around Ryder's Lydia Dietz trying to keep her family together as Beetlejuice returns to haunt her. So I watched this film for the first time and I was pretty disappointed, I have to be honest. I thought it was way too over the top in terms of its camp and cringiness. It was just way too over the top to actually work cohesively as a film, and it's trapped somewhere like halfway between trying to tell an interesting new story and trying to ram nostalgia down your throat, going like, oh, I remember that from the first film, or oh, this is an Easter egg to the first film. So I gave the film 2 stars out of 5. It was just kind of painful to watch, if I'm honest. Moving on, this week, Alien Romulus was released on home video. The film is set between 1979's Alien and 1986's Aliens, and stars Kaylee Spaney and Isabel Merced as part of a cast of 6 downtrodden space colonists who encounter hostile creatures, aka the Xenomorphs, while scavenging a derelict space station. So I watched this film for the first time, and I was surprised by how much I enjoyed it. The film is overly British and has a clunky script, but the film uses a good balance of Spaney's performance, like scares, the effects, like practical effects and special effects, as well as nostalgia. There's a direct connection to the 1979 film in the film. I won't spoil it, so you just gotta watch it yourself, but all those elements made it an enjoyable enough watch. I wasn't really too keen on the sort of like big twist, I guess you could say, of the third act, like the final battle type thing. But other than that, like, it's a fairly solid film. I gave it 3.5 stars out of 5. I would recommend it. I don't know when it's on Disney Plus. I don't know if it's on currently on Disney Plus, but yeah. But you definitely do have had to have seen the 1979 original Alien to understand it. Well, not understand it, but I sort of appreciate the Easter egg. That's all I have for this week, but be sure to check back next week where I'll be previewing Kraven the Hunter and Lord of the Rings, The War of Rohirrim. Now back to Gary in the studio.
Thank you very much there, Andrew. We'll be back with Andrew next week. It's now time to go over to what you've been waiting for, of course, this weekend, which is the National Evening Weather Forecast. And this week we are joined by Ellie Glazier. Let me just find Ellie. Here comes Ellie now.
Hello, welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office. Storm Dara continues to bring some very disruptive and potentially damaging weather through the rest of Saturday and into Sunday. It does slowly move its way south and eastwards away from the UK as we head through into the start of Sunday, but that squeeze in the isobars still indicates those strong winds we're likely to see through much of Sunday. But then high pressure starts to build from the northwest, turning everything a little more settled as we head in towards the new working week. Back to the rest of Saturday though, and some strong winds continuing across western parts of the UK. Gusts here perhaps reaching up to 70 miles an hour by the time we get to the early hours of Sunday morning, and lots of heavy rain across eastern parts of England too, so some flooding likely in places here. Turning a little drier across parts of Northern Ireland and parts of Scotland, but still remaining windy, and with that brisk northerly wind, that should keep temperatures above zero, although it will still be quite a chilly night and a chilly start to the day on Sunday, particularly across the south and the east, where we see that cloud and rain continuing through Sunday morning. So a cloudy and damp start across eastern parts of England, heavy outbreaks of rain slowly pushing their way southwards as we go through the morning. But for all of the UK, it will be a really windy day. Gusts inland still reaching up to around 40 or 50 miles an hour, quite widely through Sunday afternoon. Winds will slowly start to ease across western parts of Scotland, Northern Ireland as we go through the afternoon. And it should be a bit brighter here, perhaps some sunshine through the afternoon. But temperatures still remaining around about average for the time of year. 8 or 9 degrees in the south and 7 or 8 further north, but with that northerly breeze, particularly across southern and eastern parts of England, it will still be feeling quite chilly here under that cloud and rain. So cloud and rain continuing across the very far southeast through Sunday evening. It slowly pushes its way south and eastwards, starting to fizzle out into the early hours of Monday morning. But further north across parts of Northern Ireland, western parts of Scotland, a dry night to come, plenty of clear spells around, and with light winds here, likely to see quite a sharp frost developing, even some mist and fog in places. So turning quite chilly here, temperatures dipping below zero. But in the south, across much of England and Wales, generally just staying just that little bit milder, particularly across the southeast, where we see that brisk northeasterly breeze continuing into the start of Monday. So a chilly but bright start across parts of Northern Ireland, parts of Scotland, a crisp blue morning for many places here, and across much of England and Wales, that cloud becoming a bit more patchy as we go through the morning, so some sunshine likely here, although still 1 or 2 showers just skirting the very far southeast of England, and it will still be quite blustery here. Temperatures on Monday still around about average for the time of year, perhaps a little milder across the very far south where we see that brisk breeze continuing, but a further north, a crisp winter's day with temperatures around average and some sunshine through the afternoon. High pressure then looks like it's dominating as we head into much of next week, situated right across the UK. Perhaps 1 or 2 weather fronts just brushing the far north of the UK, but high pressure bringing us some more settled conditions and perhaps some sunshine on the way, but that does mean some cold nights and perhaps some frost and fog on the way through next week. There are plenty of weather warnings to keep up to date with, so make sure you keep up to date with that via our website and our app, and make sure you hit subscribe to our YouTube channel to never miss a weather update. Bye for now.
Thank you very much there, Ellie, for the weather forecast. Obviously not too good a weekend this weekend, but let's see what the week ahead is bringing for us. Still quite mild. Obviously the weather improves as we get through to Monday, and it's going to be drier and a little cooler than it has been this week, but still not really those freezing winter temperatures. So as long as we survive the weekend, we've got not too bad a week ahead. Time to move to our What's On section, and we'll start with Weymouth Pavilion as usual. 8th of December, tomorrow, Whitney, Queen of the Night. 20th of December to the 5th of January, the Christmas pantomime, Peter Pan. Also 20th of December, Ben Waters and Friends, a charity night. 8th of January, the BSO New Year's Viennese Gala. 11th of January, Thank You for the Music, an ABBA tribute. 17th of January, a tribute to the Pet Shop Boys. And 19th of January, comedian Ed Byrne. Just a few things that are going on at Weymouth Pavilion. As ever, a packed programme at the Pavilion. To find out everything that's going on and to see the availability and times for tickets, pop along to their website, weymouthpavilion.com, or give the box office a ring on 01305 783 225. Just a couple of things coming up at the Knowth Fort in the run-up to Christmas. Tomorrow is the second day of their Steampunk Christmas Market. That's been on today as well, but that will return tomorrow on Sunday. And next weekend, 14th and 15th of December, is the Knowth Fort Victorian Christmas. So that's next weekend, Victorian Christmas at the Knowth Fort. Again, information on their events are available on the website, knowthfort.org.uk. To remind you that the Polar Express is still running on the Swanage Railway right the way through to Christmas Eve. Passengers experience a fully themed late afternoon or evening experience featuring song scenes and moments from the movie. On board the trains will be actors and from the book and film. And it's all themed on the Polar Express, obviously. Do pop along to the Swanage Railway website to find out about availability and costs of that. Each trip is about an hour and a half as the train goes up and then back down. Now, Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol by David Min is back, and this is through Artsreach. Described as beautifully, apparently simple theatre with just one actor, but you go home remembering a cast of dozens. He's a genius, that's one of the reviews. So David Min, veteran Cornish actor and a founder member of Knee High, returns to Dorset with a one-man performance of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. Spend an evening in the company of a mean, tight-fisted, squeezing, grasping, clutching old miser. Bar, watch horrified as Ebenezer Scrooge is haunted by 4 creepy ghosts, each one more terrifying than the last. Sob at the bedside of a tiny, malnourished child riven with rickets. In their inimitable style, the team that brought you Great Expectations, The Odyssey and Canterbury Tales will now take you on a grim journey through the dark, dismal streets of Victorian London. This is Dickens' original words with added silliness. Now, that's going to be on Friday the 13th of December at Marnhole, Saturday the 14th of December at Milbourne St Andrew, and Sunday the 15th of December at Burton Bradstock, all not too far away from us. So if you're interested in going along to that, if you pop along to the Artsreach website, so just search for Artsreach. Again, all of their performances are on there with the times and venues and how to find the venues, and you can buy tickets. And it's a good way also of getting out and exploring around Dorset as well. Now, the next Friday, the 13th of December, at All Saints Church in White Regis, there will be an evening of Christmas music with the Weymouth Concert Brass Band. That starts at 7:30. I believe it's a free event with just donations at the end, and no doubt there will be refreshments as well. And finally, while we're talking about churches, church services this weekend are 8 o'clock communion at All Saints Church, White Regis, 9:30 communion at All Saints Church, White, and 11 a.m. At St Edmunds. And this week it's an Advent carol and poetry type service at St Edmunds at 11 o'clock. Of course, our other programme tonight is our quiz programme. As ever, 7:30. Streams go live about 7:20, starting promptly at 7:30. Everyone is welcome to that. It's free. It's certainly family friendly and community friendly, and you'll be very willing to join us. If you have any news or events or anything coming up in the run-up to Christmas, any concerts or anything, do drop us a line at news@whiteregis.tv. We would love to share that with people in our next programme. Just remains for me to say I hope you have a very nice weekend. I recommend that you stay tucked up in bed, indoors and in the warm, but hopefully you'll have a good week ahead, and hopefully you're getting things ready for Christmas and organising the Christmas shopping and the presents, and not rushing around too mad. So enjoy the weekend, enjoy the week ahead, and I look forward to being back with you next Saturday at 6 o'clock. Good night.